Okay, so I wanted to talk about the pelvis for a second. So we're going to play with the pelvis movement. And I'm sure you guys have heard all the fancy lingo for pelvis tilting, tip it up, tip it down, posterior, anterior. I find them really confusing, even though I've studied the pelvis a lot. So we're going to think about the pelvis as a bowl today. And we're going to think about spilling the bowl open or stopping the flow for the bowl. Does that make sense for everybody? Spilling it open and then stopping the flow. So I'll show you what that looks like from the side. So if we're going to spill the pelvis open, we're going to tilt it forward, right? So if I had liquid in my pelvis, I'm spilling it open. Look at what happens with my tailbone. It goes out and there's an arch in the low back. If I want to stop the flow, I don't mean neutral, I mean like really forcing the stop so that the belly button draws in. See how my belly draws in? And then there's length in the low back. So we're spilling our pelvis open, or we're stopping the flow out, and see how the belly draws in. We're going to play with those today in our practice, so I just wanted to demonstrate that for you. So everyone come to a child's pose if that's comfortable for you. Knees can be wide, they can be close together. You can bring your forehead down to the ground. If you don't want to go in a full child's pose, at least maybe place a block or the elbows down and bring your thumbs onto your third eye. So whatever variation you take, knees together, knees wide, somewhat upright or full reclined with your forehead down, at least have the third eye pushing up against something. Then when you get there, take a breath in and take a breath out. Take another inhale and then a full exhale out. And come back to the natural flow of your breath. So I'm sure we've all heard that yoga means to unite, union of mind, body, spirit. Another definition of yoga that I've heard that I really love is it's the study of the mind. And for me, that really resonates because we need all the limbs to study the mind. We need to move our body or find stillness in our body. We need to control the breath. There's different types of meditation. And we need to pay attention to our thoughts, our reaction, how we show up, what happens in our mind when things happen in our lives so that we can be better people to the people in our lives, to the strangers in our lives, but more importantly to ourselves. So in today's practice, I want you to study your mind. It's an all levels class. There'll be options to spice it up. There'll be options to take away some spice. But as we move through our practice, take the option that offers a little bit of spice, at least to you maybe, so that you can study your mind in those situations. If you're balancing and you fall out of it, come back to your mind. What's going on in your head? Where are your thoughts? And let's use our own body as a way to study our mind by really anchoring down with our alignment today. So let's start to bring that awareness into our bodies right now. So first we'll start with the forehead on the ground. I want you to imagine that all thoughts, anything that isn't serving you, all the extra tabs that are open, just let it flow out into the ground. It would be impossible to get rid of all tabs and press close all, but we can close a few extra. Once you've closed some extra tabs, feel your body push up against the ground. So let's start with the forehead. Whether that's your thumb, a block, the ground. Feel the pressure. If you need to, you can move your head a little bit so you can really feel that point of contact. Notice the position of your legs. Notice if there's even a little bit of stickiness with your knees bent. Are your knees close together, far apart? The position of your spine. Is there a rounding? For most of us, there probably will be. And how does that feel in your spine? Does it feel nice? Or do you spend a lot of time rounding and you don't actually enjoy being in a rounded position right now? Are the arms falling along the side of your body, or you have them reaching out in front? What's the position of your shoulders? Do you have your shoulder blades close to your ears? Are they a little further away from your ears? Does your neck feel long or short? And without using any labels in a way that is going to take you away from studying yourself, but just taking notes. What I mean by labels is this feels bad, this feels gross, or this feels just awful, to getting really specific in your notes. Like, I feel sticky in my pelvis. I feel sore in my legs. Or I feel open in my back. Get really specific in what you're noting. When we get specific and we get rid of all that extra fluffy stuff, so much easier to study ourselves. So much easier to filter out the thoughts. For the next 3 breaths, breathe specifically into your tummy. Make it a big breath in and feel your tummy up against your legs if it's pushing up against your legs. Feel your belly button moving as you breathe. For the next 3 breaths, breathe specifically into the front of your chest so your sternum moves. Make a note. Do you prefer the breath there? And then the next 3 breaths. Then the next 3 breaths, breathe specifically into your back. Breathe specifically into the space between the shoulder blades. No. And then breathe into all 3 of the spaces at once, into your belly, into your chest, into your shoulder blades. Feel your whole upper body rise as you inhale and get heavy as you exhale. If you don't already, reach your arms out in front of you so that your arms are long. Come up onto your fingertips so you make little domes with your hands. And on your next inhale, lift your body up just a little bit. Exhale, walk your hands all the way over towards the left. And maybe the forehead comes down, but for most of us, the head's going to be floating, and that's okay. Imagine someone has their palm on your outer right hip, and they're pushing the outer right hip into the ground as you reach through the right fingertips. Start to invite in Ujjayi breath if that's a part of your practice, so the constriction of the throat as you inhale and as you exhale. Equal part inhale and equal part exhale. Inhale, lifts your upper body up slightly. Exhale, walk it all the way over towards the right. Let the body get heavy. Maybe the forehead finds the ground, but maybe it's floating like the rest of us, and you can let your head hang loose. Imagine someone has a palm on your outer left hip, and they're pushing it down as you reach to the left fingertips. Equal part inhale and equal part exhale for a few rounds here. Inhale, lift your body up. Exhale, fingertips through center, plant the palms, come up onto your knees, untuck your toes. And then stack your knees underneath your hips, stack your hands underneath your shoulders. From here, flip the left toes out towards the left, and you're gonna bring your left palm about middle of the mat, and you're gonna start to roll open and straighten the right leg. So for some, you'll want the inner foot down on the ground and you'll push the inner foot down. For some, you'll want to bring the whole foot down to the ground. Right hand on your right hip, and then look straight ahead of you. So we're going to start to play with our pelvis here. So like you're trying to stop the spilling, you're going to tilt your pelvis, bring the belly button in. Keep the pelvis engaged and either reach the right arm up or up and overhead if that feels okay for your shoulders. Whatever variation you're doing, push your right leg into the ground. And if you have your arm up overhead, you can start to really arch the right side of the body. If you're reaching it up towards the sky, reach the right fingertips as high as you can. Everyone push into the left palm. And take a few breaths here. And you can also use your breath as a way to inch your way in. I like to think is inhales almost take me out of my pose for half a sec. And then exhale will maybe bring me in a little bit further. You're reaching your arm up overhead. Inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhale, right palm comes back to the ground. Come onto all fours for a moment. Pause in a tabletop. Be really specific with your awareness and bring it into the right side of your body. What do you feel? What sort of sensations are there? Okay, then flip the left toes out, the right toes out to the right, right palm middle mat, and then reach the left leg long, left hand on left hip for a moment. Set yourself up either with the inner foot or the whole foot down. And then that little stopping of the spilling of the pelvis, you're gonna tilt your bowl up. The belly button's gonna reach in, and you're either gonna reach the left arm straight up towards the sky or reach the left arm up overhead. Look forward. Whatever variation you're doing, push the left leg into the ground, push the right palm into the ground so you protect your right shoulder. And then either use your breath to kind of ease your way in, or if you come to your edge, just hang out there with your breath. If your arm's reaching up overhead, inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhale, back to a tabletop. Tuck your toes, grip the mat with your fingertips, and glide the knees up and back into a nice and smooth downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, you can pedal your feet. You can move your hips from side to side. And then find a stillness in your downward facing dog. And from here, play with the two movements of your pelvis. You're going to spill your pelvis open. Notice what that does to your whole spine. And then you're going to stop the spillage and notice what that does. It might not be a lot of movement. You might not even be able to see the movement, but the effort of moving will do something to your spine. And notice what that something is. Notice if they're shaking. And then come back to your down dog that you love. And take two little baby steps in with your feet. Grab the outer left ankle with your right wrist. You need to push into the ground with the left palm. Pull on the left ankle to look underneath your left armpit. And think about getting as long as you can through the left side of the body. The tendency is to let the hips go over towards the left. Keep the left hip stacked on top of the left foot, the right hip stacked on top of the right foot. And take a couple of really delightful breaths. Next, inhale, release. Right hand back down on the ground, set it up. Exhale, left hand to outer left or outer right ankle. Push into the palm, look underneath the right armpit if it feels good. And then again, the tendency is to go out towards the right. Can you stack your right hip on top of your left foot and your left hip on top of your left? Can you still stay with your breath? So the study of the mind with yoga is also the study of the breath. When you're in these poses, if you're quick to lose your breath, notice why and then bring it back. Exhale, left palm finds the ground. Come into your good old downward facing dog. Inhale, bend deeply into the knees, look forward. Tiptoe your way for this first one, working your heel down into the ground. Come into a forward fold at the front of the mat with the feet hip distance apart and parallel. Little bend to the knees, let the head hang loose. You can shake it, yes and no. Then grab forearms specifically and let the elbows get loose. Let the head get loose. And then imagine that gravity just got a little bit stronger than it actually is and is pulling the elbows. It's letting the shoulder blades come up to the ears. It's letting the head get heavier. And you can almost feel the space happening between each of your vertebrae. So we're working the opposite direction that we normally do with gravity in our spine. So feel the effects in your spine. Release the spine. Pull your hamstrings up and into your glutes as you pull your body up to a standing position, stacking your vertebrae one at a time. Palms face forward when you get there. Feet hip distance apart if they're not already there. Have your feet stacked underneath your hips. And with your hands, bring them to your hips. And you're going to play with tilting your pelvis in the two directions as you're standing. Notice the effect in your spine. Notice how when you go one way, your hamstrings get long and your hip flexors get shorter. And when you go the other way, your hamstrings get short and your hip flexors get long. Then come to a place where you're slightly tilting it up, so you're getting the spillage stops, the belly draws in. And make a mudra with your fingers where the index fingers are pointing up, and then you cross the thumbs, reach the arms up overhead, keep the belly drawing in, keep the pelvis strong, inhale, and tick over towards the right. So the trick is actually to move laterally and avoid moving forward or back. So the pelvis drawing in and up and the belly button drawing in and up will help keep you there. Really anchor down to the left foot and really reach to the left arm. You can almost let your head rest on your right bicep. Let an inhale bring you back up through center. Reset the pelvis, reset the belly button if you lost it, and exhale, go over towards the left. Anchor down through the right foot, reach through the right hand, let your head rest on your left bicep if you can. Stay as lateral as possible. Inhale lifts you up. Exhale, bend the knees slightly and fold all the way over to your legs, forward fold. Lift your heart and gaze, inhale. Exhale, plant your palms, left foot steps all the way back, right foot follows into a high plank. Push into the palms, so you have the option to actually everybody bring the knees down. We'll do the two options. Untuck the toes. Inhale, send your chest forward, pull the shoulder blades back, bend the elbows, exhale, lower all the way down onto your tummy. Good, all 10 toes on the mat, especially the pinky toes. Inhale, push into the palms, pull the sternum forward and push your pubic bone into the ground. Exhale, forehead comes down, tuck the toes. Knees can be down, inhale to a high plank, or you can lift the knees up, see if you can lift the pelvis up at the same time. Inhale, high plank. Bend the knees to glide back, exhale, downward facing dog. Take a steady breath in. Take a long breath out. Steady inhale. Long exhale. Again. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step your left foot as far as you can. Then follow with the right to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Inhale, lift your heart and gaze, get long in the spine. Exhale, round the spine, fingertips down, look up at the belly button. Bend the knees if you need to get the hands down. Long spine or round spine, inhale, come on up. All the way, reach the arms up, gaze follows. Exhale, hands to your side mountain pose. Inhale, big circle with the arms, draw the belly in as you exhale and fold all the way forward, forward fold. Inhale, lifts the heart. Exhale, plants the palm and the right foot steps back, then the left foot steps back. So for vinyasa, you have the option of what we did last time, or you can keep the knees lifted and inhale, shift forward on your toes. Pull the shoulder blades back, exhale, lower so the chest stays above the elbows, or go all the way down. Sternum forward and up, point the toes, strong legs, everyone, cobra or up dog. Exhale, use your core to get into a downward facing dog. When you get there, take a couple of breaths in, take a couple of breaths out. Inhale, bend deeply into the knees, look forward. Exhale, right foot steps first as far forward as it can. Left foot follows into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Lift the heart, inhale. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Long spine or round spine, either way, use your hamstrings to get your body all the way up and gaze can follow. Exhale, palms facing forward, Tadasana, mountain pose. Pause here, eyes open, eyes closed, your choice. Notice what position your pelvis likes to go to when you're standing. If it's tilting forward and spilling out, or if it's stopped, or if it's somewhere in between the two. Know that there's no right or wrong option, but when you can bring awareness into your pelvis and the shape it likes to go naturally, you can just bring more awareness into your body. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Inhale, lifts the arms up. Exhale, folds the body all the way forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift your gaze. Exhale, plant the palms, step, or maybe you'll come up onto your tippy toes and lightly float back to a high plank. Knees up, knees down. Inhale, shift the chest forward. Pull the shoulder blades back. Exhale, lower, pause. Maybe you go all the way down onto your tummy. Pull the sternum forward and up, or spinal extension. It doesn't matter if it's up dog or cobra. It's the same concept. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lifts the right leg up. Exhale, lightly step it at the front of your mat without making any noise. Left knee comes up or down. Inhale, hands to your hips. Then from here, you're going to play with the pelvic tilts again in this low lunge variation. So for this, think about 90-90. So for a lot of us, we'll probably have to walk our back leg in and then stack our pelvis on top of the thigh. And you can untuck the toes and place all 5 toes of your left foot into the ground. Hands on your hips. And then play with those pelvic tilts. So spill, let everything just spill out, or stop the spillage and over-exaggerate. And do that a couple times. Notice it's going to be different if you go one way and there's some shaking, or it feels like a little choppy in the movements, or if it feels smooth. If it feels choppy, that's okay. That just means your pelvis isn't used to moving in that direction, and that's why we're doing this. And then tilt it, so stop all the spillage, draw the belly in, and notice what that does for your left hip flexor. Hands can stay on the hips to help you stay here, or you can interlace the hands and place that right where your skull and your spine meet. Elbows out wide, or if you want to cradle your head, you can. I like elbows out wide because I personally have a lot of shoulder stuff. But if you have neck stuff, it might feel good to cradle the head and then push the head into the hands. So whatever one you're doing, push the head into the hands and think of stacking your head on top of your left knee. So there's this beautiful long line from the left knee up to the head. Stay nice and tall. Stick with your breath. So why are we working the hip flexor in a side body class? Well, our hip flexors, our outer hip stabilizers, our hamstrings, they all contribute to our outer side body strength. And the thing about the body is it's interconnected. You could stub your pinky toe and have a sore shoulder. So think of a long, strong line. Think of the outer hip stabilizers helping you with that strong line. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, palms find the ground. Flip the left toes out like we did earlier and step the right leg out to the supported side plank. Inhale, reach the left arm or right arm to the position you had before. Exhale, right hand finds the ground. Come to a tabletop, tuck the toes and lift up and back into a downward facing dog. Inhale, glide the left heel up. Exhale, lightly land it at the front of your mat. Right knee comes down and then 90 to 90. So you want 90 in the left leg, 90 in the right leg, untuck the toes. So you might get up here and have to move yourself around, but you want that right hip stacked on top of the right knee. Hands on the hips. Push the right foot into the ground for stability. Push the left foot into the ground for stability. And play with the two pelvic movements. Notice if this side's a little bit different than the other side. If you already forgot what happened on the first side, that's okay. Just bring the movements in. And then come to that place where the pelvis has stopped, anything's filling out, the belly's drawing in, and the right hip flexor is like saying hello. Interlace the hands, elbows out wide if you got shoulders, gunky stuff like me, or maybe you cradle the head. Push the head into your hands. Think about stacking the head on top of the knee. Really push that right leg into the ground. Sit up tall. And think about how the outer hip stabilizers are helping to keep you steady here, as well as the inner thighs. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, plant the palms, step the left leg all the way back as you flip the right toes out. Inhale, reach the left arm up and overhead into the variation you did earlier. Exhale, palms find the ground, tabletop, lift up and back, downward facing dog. When you're in a down dog, take a breath in, take a breath out. Full inhale. Full exhale. One more inhale here. One more exhale. Inhale, come forward to a high plank with the knees up or maybe the knees down. Exhale, pull the shoulders back as you bend at the elbows, lower the chest halfway or all the way down. Point the toes, all 10 toes on the mat, spinal extension, inhale. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale, glide your right leg up. Exhale, step it lightly at the front of your mat, a little bit wider than your last low lunge. Left knee comes down. Inhale, come on up with the hands interlaced, elbows out wide again. So that pelvic tilt where we're gonna stop the spillage so the belly button comes in, and the left hip flexor right away is like, hello, I'm on. You can tuck the toes if you're gonna lift up, or you can keep the toes untucked if you're like, I know I'm gonna stay in a low lunge. Push the head into the palms. From here, let the right elbow come down towards the ground and the left elbow reach up. So you have the option to keep the knee down, or you can float it up, but like just a little bit. So maybe like a paper thin block could fit under there. That was a bad description, an inch off the ground. Feel in your body where there's the most sensation. Bring your awareness to that spot and notice what kind of sensation you feel. Again, get really specific. Don't say hard or difficult. Say, my left hamstring feels sticky. My outer right hip feels fired up. The knees lifted, lower it down. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, both palms find the ground. Flip the left toes out, right leg out and back. Reach the right arm up. If you'd like, you can reach the right leg up. Let's hold it here for an inhale and an exhale. End of the exhale, come into a tabletop, tuck the toes. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in there. Take a breath out. Glide the left heel up, inhale. Exhale, step it at the front of your mat. Take a wider low lunge again. Toes tucked or untucked, depending on what you did on the other side. Interlace the hands. Place that basket right where your skull and your spine meet. Elbows out wide. Good, and then pelvic tilt so that the belly draws in and you stop the spillage. Notice what happens to the right hip flexor. Outer hip stabilizers are working in and keep the knee down on the ground, or you can float it up maybe an inch. Left elbow finds its way towards the ground and the right elbow lifts up towards the sky. Push into the palms. Bring your awareness into the place with the most sensation and notice if that sensation is different than the other side. The knees lifted, lower it down. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, palms find the ground, flip the right toes up. Step the left leg back. Inhale, left arm wherever you'd like. Lift the left leg up maybe this time. Hold it for an inhale. Hold it for an exhale. End of the exhale. Both palms down, both knees down, tuck the toes. Up and back, down dog. Stay here if you like, or float through a little vinyasa. Inhale, high plank. Maybe try knees down. If you always do knees up, try knees down and notice if you can find something new here. Pull the shoulder blades back. Exhale, lower. You can still do up dog from your knees. Downward facing dog, everyone. When you get there, take a breath in and take a breath out. Another inhale. Full long exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or lightly land at the front of your mat. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, inhale. Exhale and fold. Long spine or round spine, doesn't matter to me, but gather up your hamstrings to lift your body up. Inhale. Exhale, mountain pose. Pause here for a moment, enjoy your breath in, and enjoy your breath out. Okay, if you have your props and you haven't put them at the front of your mat yet, do that, but specifically place a block or whatever if you only have one on the right side of your mat, and then come back to a mountain pose. Feet together or slightly apart, your choice. Draw the belly in as you inhale and reach your arms up. Keep drawing the belly in. Exhale, fold with the long spine. Lift it up, inhale. Plant the palms, step or come up onto your tippy toes to lightly float back to a high plank. Everyone, knees up or down. You pull the shoulder blades back. You look forward, inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze the elbows into the midline. Pull the sternum forward and up, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, inhale, float your right heel up. Bend the right leg, stack the right hip on top of the left, open it up. And then exhale, close it off and step the right foot all the way at the front of your mat. Heel to arch alignment, so the heel of the right foot aligned with the arch of the left foot. Align your feet first, and then on an inhale, pick yourself up to a warrior two. Plug both femurs into your hips. Notice how when you do that, I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen, but look at my belly, look at my pelvis. I plug in, what happens? My core's fired up, right? So everything comes in. Still got a deep bend in the leg. Reach the arms out wide in a soft gaze over the right fingers. Find some steadiness in your pose. Find some steadiness in your breath. One more full inhale. One more full exhale. Left hand to left hip. Inhale, straighten your right leg, and then like you're tilting your pelvis to the right, exhale, fold over the right leg, pause here, grab your prop. Even if you don't use a prop in extended triangle, we're gonna use one today. So if you want, it can be on a lower setting. And then left hand on left hip. So this is a side body one. I would suggest going as high as you can for this, even if you're really open. Look down at your foot, and then the outer right hip, tuck it underneath you so that the right hip joint is aligned with the right knee, which is aligned with the middle of the right foot. Push into the pinky toe side of the left foot, and then reach the left arm straight up like regular or up and overhead. Good, and then when you do that, notice how my whole body rounded forward. Let's open up. So this is where the block comes in handy, so that you can pick up the right side of your body. As the tendency in extended side triangle, sorry, give you a cue where we're going next, is we dump into the right side, right? Because we're so focused on if we have our hand down on the ground. This is a side body class, so let's come up. Let's think length in the right side body, because length in the left side body is gonna happen organically. Find a steady point either up at the ceiling or straight ahead of you with the eyes. If it feels good, close the eyes and think about your side body. The right side body, notice the crease in your hip. Notice the right shoulder moving away from the right hip. And then notice the left side body. You're working length there, but how is it different than the right side body? Left hand, left hip. Look down at the right big toe and bend the right leg. So move the block so that your hand is underneath your shoulder. If you have wrist stuff, you can do a fist. I find a fist is nice because it just takes that bend out of the wrist. Good, then tuck the right hip back underneath you. And then that slight pelvis tilt where you're trying to stop the pouring out and the belly button comes in. Pull the sternum open, reach the left arm up or maybe overhead. You can also cradle your neck. Sometimes it's nice to do that when you've been lifting your arm up a lot. And then think about the side body, right? So the right side body, pull the right shoulder away from the right hip, pull the right hip away from the right shoulder. And then what does the left side body feel like? How is it slightly different here than on the right side? And where is your breath? So you have the option to stay here if you don't want to go into half moon. If you like to go into half moon, left hand on left hip, come up onto the ball of your left foot for a moment. Grab your prop. So we're going to use a prop for this, even if you don't normally. Place the right hand about 6 inches in front of your right foot on the pinky toe side of your right foot and see if you can float the left leg up in one big movement. If it takes a couple kicks, that's fine, but you're just going to try your best. Left hand on left hip, turn the left toes out towards the left and see if you can stack the left hip on top of the right by pulling the outer right hip stabilizer in. Flex the left foot, plug the left leg in. Hand can stay on hip for stability, or you can reach the left arm up into a full expression. Think length out of all 4 limbs. How can I make my right leg longer? How can I make my left leg longer? My right arm, my left arm, as well as my whole body. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale, bend the right leg, land the left toes at the back of the mat, land both palms down on the ground, step back without making any noise into a down dog. From here, big toes touch. You have the option to bring the knees down and do our supported side plank that we've been doing, or with long legs, let the heels fall over to the left, reach the right arm up, and then if it feels good, up and overhead. Push into the left palm, send the hips up towards the sky. Stay here or float the right leg up. Whatever variation, we're going to do it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If the right leg's lifted, lower it down. Come back onto both palms, downward facing dog. Stay in down dog or flesh through a quick little vinyasa. From down dog, inhale, left heel floats up. Exhale, lightly land it at the front of your mat. Heel of the left foot aligned with the arch of the right foot. Line the feet up, and then on an inhale, all the way up into warrior 2. Like we did on the other side, plug both legs into the pelvis, and then the pelvis slightly engaged and the belly draws in, and then reach your arms out wide. Soft gaze over the left hand, or neutral. Right hand, right hip. Inhale, straighten the left leg, and then like you're tilting it to the left, tilt your pelvis. Grab your block, place it underneath your shoulder. Outer left hip, scoop it underneath you. Draw in through the right femur. Stay here with your hand on your hip, or reach your right arm straight up, or if you want, you can reach it up overhead if it feels okay for your neck and shoulders. I'm looking for side body length in the left side of the body, so left shoulder moves away from the left hip, left hip away from the left shoulder. And then when you find the length in the left side body, notice that the right side body is still long. So really, if it's harder for you to find length in the left side body, focus on that so that so that there's length in both side bodies, because the right one will organically do it anyway. Notice how they both have length, but there's a different shape to them, or structure, I should say. Right hand, right hip. Take a breath in. Take a breath out to bend the left leg and move your left hand so it's underneath your left shoulder. Again, you can do a fist if it's too much for the wrist. Scoop the left hip underneath you. Notice what that does for your pelvis. Notice what that does for the outer right glute. Stay here or reach the right arm up, overhead, or if you've had enough with that, with your neck and your shoulders, you can cradle your neck. And then think length in the left side body, right? So the left shoulder moves away from the left hip. Notice the two differences. So notice the left side body versus the right side body. They're both getting long, but there's a different structure to them. Steady point with the eyes. Stay here if you'd like, or right hand on right hip. Come onto the ball of your right foot. Grab your prop, whatever that is, on the outer left, outside of the outer left foot. Float the right leg up into a half move. One big movement if you can, or take a couple. You want your left hand stacked underneath your left shoulder for stability. Right toes out to the right. Stack the outer right hip on top of the left. Stay here with your hand on your hip or reach the arm up.
9:30 every morning if you want.
Think about the length in all 4 limbs. So reach through both arms, reach through both legs, reach to the crown of your head. Get long in your body. Get long in your breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bend the left leg, land the right toes lightly at the back of the mat, both palms down on the ground, step back to a high plank. So if you want to do the knee down variation for the side plank, you bring the knees down or bring the feet together. Roll onto the pinky toe side of the right foot and lift the left arm up. Then from here, stay here or float the left leg up. Whatever variation you take, we'll hold it for 5, 4, push into the right palm, 3, 2, with control, lower the foot down if it's up, lower both palms down, push back to a downward facing dog. Stay in a down dog, take a child's pose, or flow through a quick little vinyasa and we'll meet in the down dog. Good, from here, walk your feet so you're about mid-mat and walk your hands to your feet. So we're just looking to be about the middle of our mat. So if you have to, you can walk a little bit further forward. Think about where the wall is and that you don't want to keep the wall. Grab opposite elbows for a moment and get heavy. From here, bend into the knees and roll your way up to a mountain pose. So I'll give you 3 options here. Option 1, I'm just gonna let you know that this is your last little bit of effort. So option 1 is you can come straight to a child's pose if you're like, I'm done, I've had enough, thank you. Option 2 will be a warrior 3. Option 3 will be a handstand. So we're looking side body, right? So for all of these options, for warrior 3 and handstand, we're looking for the outer body, the long body, the side body we've been working. We're looking for that to compact in, right? So whether you're warrior 3 or whether you're handstand, you're still gonna look for the outer body to compact in for strength and length and stability. So if you want to do a handstand up against the wall, because you have one in your house, move up to the wall. If you're happy with warrior 3, we're gonna kind of take off together. Unless you're up at the wall, you won't be able to reach your hands forward. So whatever variation you're doing, just decide, make a decision and do that one, commit to it. Bring your hands to your hips and bend your knees slightly. Shift your weight into your right leg and float the left leg up as you bring your body forward. So warrior 3, you'll stay here with your hands on your hips, Anjali Mudra, or full expression, you reach the arms forward. Handstand, you'll bring both palms down to the ground. Lift the left leg up high and push into the ground. Get that space between the shoulder blades, shift forward and try a couple little kicks. Whatever variation you do, whether it's handstand or warrior 3, we're gonna hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're upside down, right leg comes down first. Lift your body up. Everyone, lower the left leg down to the ground. Palms face them forward. Pause in a mountain pose for a couple of breaths. Okay, other side, hands to your hips, everyone. Shift your weight into your left leg. Inhale, float the right leg up. So take the same variation, hands on hips, Anjali Mudra, full warrior 3, or palms find the ground. Stack them underneath your shoulders, push into the palms, spread the shoulder blades away from one another, tilt it forward, give a couple little kicks, and whatever variation you're doing, we're gonna hold it again for 5, 4, get long, whatever you're in, 3, 2, 1. If you're upside down, left leg comes down first. Everyone, right leg finds the ground, palms face them forward. Beautiful, guys. Inhale here. Exhale. Full inhale. Full exhale. Inhale, circle the arms up. Long spine, exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, lift your heart and gaze. Exhale, plant the palms, step back to down dog. 2 options. Option 1, knees come down, legs swing across. Option 2, if you want last little bit of fire, jump through onto your sitting bones. Legs out in front. Give your legs a little jiggle. Then bring your left leg out wide And bend the right leg and place the top of the foot down on the ground. So if your knee is like, ugh, or if you'd like, you can place a block or something underneath your sitting bones and lift up, and that might make it okay. But if it's still too much, then inner foot, inner thigh. If you can though, top of the foot down, you can move the fleshy bit of your calf out of the way. Sit up tall. Everyone left arm down on the inside, and inhale, reach the right arm up overhead. So you can imagine or actually use your right hand for a moment and push down on the right hip specifically. You can stay there or reach the arm back up, close the eyes, let the head hang loose for this. Let your neck relax. Let the side of your neck stretch as well. Inhale, come back up. Good. Exhale, use your hand to bring your right leg out in front. Give your legs a little jiggle. So I didn't say on the first side, and I'm sorry, but sometimes it's easier to actually do the bent leg first before bringing the leg out. Or if you want to challenge yourself, you could do right leg out and bend the left leg in. Move the fleshy bit, use a prop or inner foot, inner thigh. Let the right arm hang loose, left arm reach it up overhead. You do this and the left sitting bone is just like peels right off. Anchor down with the left hand on the left thigh, the left hip. And then maybe reach the left arm back overhead. Stay here for a few breaths. Let your head hang loose so your neck can stretch. Let it inhale, bring you back up. Exhale, release. Two options. Option one, you can slowly work your way down. Use your core to help you get down. Option two is you can do a quick little vinyasa, and then we'll all meet lying down on the ground. When you get there, bring your knees in for a little squeeze. Then place the left leg down, or left foot down on the ground, outer right ankle on top of left thigh. From here, pick up your pelvis just a little bit, shift it over to the right and lower it down. Grab your right foot with your left hand as you let yourself twist open. So specifically, it's a weird one. You want the ankle to stay on the thigh and the foot to try and find the ground, or maybe a block or whatever you're using. And you anchor down in that foot and you hold the foot to help you stay stable, and then the right knee pulls away from your face. So there's this beautiful stretch on the outer right hip stabilizer, the really like meaty tendony IT band here. All the fibers are stretching through. Right shoulder finds the ground, gaze is neutral or over the right arm. You can do open gaze, you can do a closed gaze. Still stay in control of your breath, but start to slow it down. Inhale, gaze comes through center, legs come back up. Lift your pelvis up, bring it to neutral. Right leg, bring it in for a little squeeze. And then foot finds the ground. Left knee comes in, outer left ankle on top of right thigh. And it's more towards the knee, I find, so it's almost like a 90 degree. Lift up your pelvis, shift it over to the left, lower it down. Grab your left foot with your right hand as the foot comes down towards the ground. Really plant down to the left foot and then glide the left knee away from your face. You can look over your left shoulder and find this beautiful lengthening in the outer left hip. There's a lot of really fibery stuff that goes down on the outside of our legs. So if it feels really intense or there's a lot of sensation, don't be surprised. Take one more breath in here. One more breath out. Inhale, glide the knees up. Bring the pelvis to neutral. Unwind your left leg, but squeeze it in so there's a little compact action in the hip flexor. Good, then release the knee and just move the knees from side to side. Come through center, bring the legs out wide, palms out wide, Shavasana. Get yourself comfy in a Shavasana. If you need a layer, grab a layer. If you'd rather take a seated pose than a reclined pose, because that just resonates more with you this morning, then do that. Prop yourself up, get warm. Then when you do get there, I want you to do what we did at the beginning of practice. So I'll give you the cue, but then I'll be silent and I'll let you enjoy your breath. You'll take 3 breaths specifically into your belly, 3 breaths specifically into the front of your heart, and then 3 breaths specifically into the back of your rib cage that's pushed up against the ground. And then you'll fully let go of all effort in your mind, body, and breath for the rest of your Shavasana. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Take a couple of breaths to do so. Invite in little movements to your fingers and your toes. You can move your head one way. You can move your head the other way. And when you're ready, roll onto one side, either the right side or the left side, whatever resonates with you this morning. pause for a moment. And then either keep your eyes closed or a soft gaze on the ground. Use your hands to find yourself into a comfortable seat. Eyes closed or slightly open. If you're going to stay for a meditation, then grab yourself a prop to get comfy. If you're not, that's fine. Just pause for a moment. If you're not going to stay for a meditation, I'll say namaste now and thank you. If you are going to stay for a meditation, you also have the option